today is our last night in Cabo. So we thought it would be helpful for you if we kind of gave you our tips, our input to hopefully make your trip to Cabo or just Mexico in general a little bit more enjoyable.
So here are 10 tips to help your next trip to Cabo. Awesome. So tip number 1 is rental car. So we were trying to figure out how to move about Cabo. A lot of people do recommend private cars and shuttles to move around. However, we wanted to explore more things at San Lucas, San Jose, and everything in between. And we felt that getting a rental car was the way to go. At first, I was afraid of getting a rental car and driving in another country, let alone Mexico is kind of scary at times, but we definitely recommend it. We got a small Nissan compact car. Doesn't eat too much gas, and it gets us everywhere within 20 to 30 minutes maybe. And as long as you're parking in a safe street or in a good parking structure, we had no issues. And of course, leaving nothing in the car as well.
Yeah, so we rented with Cactus Car Rentals. Just doing the math, if we hired a private shuttle to take us from the airport to our hotel, just that round trip, it would have costed like $160. How much did we pay for our rental car?
$160.
$160. And that's by Cactus Rental. It included the basic car insurance here that you're required to have in Mexico. So already it was a steal. It just makes everything way more flexible.
Just for us. And again, if you guys get a private car, that's totally cool too. Each to their own. It was just our tips that, or our thoughts around getting a rental.
Yeah. Tip number 2, knowing just how the map or how Cabo works. So Los Cabos means they're basically 2 Cabos. San Jose del Cabo and Cabo San Lucas. So San Jose del Cabo is where you fly into. And that's kind of like the more historic city. And San Lucas is the Cabo that you think of when you think of Cabo.
The parties,
it's the party vibes, you know, it's where all the spring breakers go. So those are the 2 main cities in Los Cabos, but they're actually separated by about a 40-45 minute car ride. So once you land in San Jose del Cabo, if you're staying in San Lucas, you have like a 30-40 minute drive to go. So along the hotel corridor, this is where you're gonna find, the Marriotts, the Hyatts, the Viceroy,
the Marquis,
we're staying at. The Cape. So from where we're located, San Jose is about 10 to 15 minutes north, and San Lucas is about 30 minutes south. So being in this area, you can't walk anywhere. You can't walk to get food. You're kind of in your resort. So just keep that in mind about the whole map of Cabo, because it's not like you jump off the airplane and everything's right there.
That goes to tip number 3, which is all-inclusive.
Yes, I am so glad that we did all-inclusive, because going back to tip number 2, there's not a lot around us. So if you weren't in an all-inclusive hotel, you're basically restricted to whatever restaurant that is in your hotel, which you have to pay for, or you have to go out to get food, which is going to be at least a 10-15 minute drive if you're staying along the hotel corridor. So I think we highly recommend all-inclusive. I loved it.
Yeah, especially here. And of course, if you're definitely like in San Jose or in San Lucas,
that's a different story.
That's a different story, but definitely if you're within or between the 2 cities, we would definitely recommend all-inclusive. So what we did was eat breakfast here, went out, had maybe a 6-hour day, ate lunch out, and then came back and relaxed by the pool and had dinner here.
And that leads us to tip number 4, which is about swimmable beaches here. So Cabo here, actually, not all the beaches are swimmable. So along the hotel corridor here, most of the hotels actually don't have beaches that are swimmable. So if you really want to be able to jump into the water from your resort, then make sure that you check whether the beach is swimmable, because where we're staying at the Marquis, it's not, but the resort one over is swimmable.
We were able to explore some awesome beaches.
Yeah.
2 that were really cool that stood out for me was Chileno, Playa de Chileno.
Which is like 10 minutes away from our
place.
hotel here.
Right off the sandbar, there's a bunch of fish in the water.
Yeah.
There's cool rock formations there to explore.
Very fun snorkeling place.
And then the second one is obviously Montana.
Lovers Beach.
Oh, yeah.
Or the beaches in San Lucas. Basically.
Yeah, the beaches in San Lucas, pretty much all of them are swimmable unless you go to the Pacific side.
Yeah. So that leads us to tip number 5, which is about tours. So of course, when you think of Cabo, you think of the famous arch, and the arch is only accessible by boats. And that arch also has a swimmable beach, which is called Lovers Beach. So when I was looking at tours online before we booked this trip, tours went from anywhere from like $60 to $100 USD per person. And of course this varies. Some of them last for 4 or 5 hours. They include lunch, they have an open bar. But for us, we just wanted to take a tour of that area and check out Lovers Beach.
Snap some pics.
Yeah, take some pictures and stay not too long there because there's no food there. So I saw some tips online saying that actually a lot of the people that you will find at the marina will offer tours at a way cheaper price. So that's actually what we found. But for 25 USD, this tour company called Rogers Company gave us a tour of the rock formations out there near the arch, dropped us off at Lovers Beach, picked us up, and then dropped us off at El Médano Beach, which is the main beach of San Lucas. So all that for 25 USD per person, so 50 each. We thought it was a pretty good deal. Of course, we didn't look around, we didn't talk to all the people out there, but for what we wanted, I thought it was perfect.
Yeah,
and I heard the same tip works for like horseback riding, anything, basically
ATV.
any excursion you want to do here. It's okay if you book it here. Don't worry about booking it online way ahead of time. There are plenty of vendors here. You know, you walk down one street and there's probably 10 vendors who want your business. So you'll be able to find someone who will fit exactly what your needs are.
Right, just had to fix the lighting.
It's sunset right now, so the lighting is changing rapidly behind us.
Right.
And I wish you could see the sunset, but here's tip number 6, which is different types of activities that you can do in Cabo. Well, one thing you can do is like taking a boat ride to the arch, like we talked about, horseback riding, there's camelback riding, there's ATV tours, there's mountain biking here, there's surfing,
cooking classes.
There's cooking classes.
Which we took.
Yeah. Basically, don't be afraid to step out of your resort because there's a lot to do. And if you come into wintertime, there's whale watching too. You can swim with sharks, you can swim with turtles, snorkeling, you can do snorkeling. Basically every beach activity you think of, you can do. Tip number 7 is to take day trips outside of your resort. So the closest place, if you're staying on a hotel corridor, is visiting San Jose del Cabo. That's where we went our first full day here, and we had such a great time there. We went to a few places. We went to Flora Farms, which is a 25-acre, fully organic, sustainable farm where there is a restaurant. There's basically so much to do there. We specifically took a cooking class at Flora Farms, which you do have to reserve online, and we made so much food. It included lunch and a drink, and it was so fun. So San Jose is one area. Another place is Todos Santos, which is about an hour drive up north, which I think if we stayed one more day here, we would have done. Of course, exploring San Lucas. So those are, I would say, the 3 closest places that you can do while you're here. Also, if you want to drive a little bit farther, there is La Paz. So definitely, I think when we come back to Cabo, we want to check out Todos Santos and La Paz. Tip number 8 is just talking about kind of Mexico in general, just our rainy and dry seasons. So in Cabo, we've been told that the best time to come is kind of winter and spring. So that starts anywhere from November and stretches all the way to March. We're in October, which is at the tail end of the rainy season. So it was still humid on some days and pretty hot during the middle of the day, but still tolerable. So I can only imagine how much nicer Cabo will be in springtime. But definitely all the locals and business people that we talked to here recommended coming in the springtime.
Yeah.
So maybe that's when we'll come in.
Number 9 is, like most of you know, the water is definitely different here off the tap than probably where you're coming from. So just to make sure, be diligent with water. Drinking bottled water is the best thing ever. It's filtered, it's clean, and you won't get sick. And so if you go to restaurants, be sure to be vigilant in saying, can I please have bottled water? And just to make sure that you're keeping the insides healthy. Because I've had it multiple times, traveler's diarrhea, and it's not fun. And it's very easy to get.
Yeah, which is another perk of staying at all-inclusive, because you can get all the bottled water you want.
And then the final tip is your cellular data. So depending on who your carrier is, there might be data to be used in Mexico. For us, fortunately, Verizon does include Mexico as one of their areas that they still provide data. So Scarlett and I get 0.5 gigs a day. And so right when you arrive in Mexico, turn on your roaming, and you'll get 0.5 gigs a day, which is for us enough. It was enough for maps. When you do reach that 0.5 cap, you'll get a text that will let you know, hey, you're reaching the 0.5 max. But other than that, we think it was sufficient, especially for the both of us.
Yeah, but you know, the resorts have Wi-Fi, most Airbnbs have Wi-Fi, so usually it's not an issue. So those are 10 little tips that we had for you that will hopefully help you during your stay in Cabo.
And the most important tip of all is just to come out here and have a good time.
Yeah, just see it for yourself.
Yeah.